I commit myself to serve you all, King, country, and Commonwealth.
Finding your way with the right people, the right support, close family around you to guide you. I think she sees that more important than instructing.
Could Prince William really be planning to cut back Queen Camilla's role once he takes the throne? Some royal insiders say tensions are running high behind closed doors, and the whispers are only getting louder. What we've found could change the way you look at the monarchy's future. And trust me, this story has more drama than a royal soap opera. The Cold War inside the palace. We are diving straight into the heart of this royal drama. For years, whispers have circulated about the frosty relationship between Prince William and his stepmother, Queen Camilla. But recent reports suggest this as a full-blown power struggle that could reshape the monarchy forever. According to royal experts and recent media coverage, Prince William has allegedly maintained a cautious distance from Camilla since she married his father in 2005. Sources close to the royal family claim that William has never fully forgiven Camilla for her role in his parents' marriage breakdown. The heir to the throne reportedly sees her as an outsider who disrupted his family's legacy. But here's where it gets really interesting. Recent reports from the Royal Observer suggest that William has been quietly developing plans for what happens to Camilla once he ascends to the throne. These are potentially dramatic changes that could fundamentally alter Camilla's position within the royal family. Royal watchers have noticed subtle signs of this tension playing out in public. Body language experts point to formal interactions between William and Camilla at official events, noting a lack of warmth that contrasts sharply with William's easy relationship with other family members. Even their public appearances together seem carefully choreographed, with minimal personal interaction. The stakes couldn't be higher. As the future king, William will have the power to make decisions that could either cement Camilla's place in royal history or quietly push her to the sidelines. And according to some reports, the writing might already be on the wall. Camilla's desperate power play. Recent reports have painted a picture of Queen Camilla fighting desperately to secure her position before it's too late. According to sources cited in various royal publications, Camilla has been making what some describe as last-ditch efforts to stay in William's good graces. According to a recently published report, Camilla is allegedly demanding that King Charles put a stop to Prince William creating issues within the monarchy. This suggests that behind closed doors, the family dynamics are far more complicated than what the public sees during their polished royal appearances. But what exactly are these issues that William is supposedly creating? Royal commentators speculate that it could involve everything from disagreements about Camilla's future role to tensions over how the monarchy should evolve under William's eventual reign. Some sources suggest that William has been pushing for a more streamlined monarchy, one that might not have a prominent place for his stepmother. The timing of these reports is particularly intriguing. With King Charles's health having been a subject of public concern, questions about succession planning have become more pressing. Camilla, now in her late 70s, might be acutely aware that her influence within the royal family could dramatically decrease once Charles is no longer on the throne. Royal expert Tom Bauer has previously suggested that Camilla has worked hard to humanize Charles and cement her own position within the family. But all that effort could be undone if William decides to take the monarchy in a different direction once he becomes king. The question everyone's asking is, what lengths might Camilla go to in order to protect her position? And more importantly, what kind of secrets or leverage might she have that could complicate William's plans? The secrets that could change everything. Here's where our story takes a fascinating turn into the realm of speculation and royal intrigue. While we can't confirm specific details about any dark secrets, the very fact that such rumors circulate tells us something important about the perceived power dynamics within the royal family. Royal biographers and commentators have long suggested that Camilla's decades-long relationship with Charles has given her access to the most private aspects of the royal family's inner workings. This kind of intimate knowledge could theoretically be quite powerful if someone felt their position was threatened. But let's be clear about something crucial. There's no verified evidence that Camilla has threatened to expose any secrets about Charles or the royal family. These are speculations that emerge from royal watchers trying to understand the complex relationships within the House of Windsor.
Called The Palace Papers Inside the House of Windsor, The Truth and the Turmoil. Tina Brown is the author. She's been editor of Vanity.
What we do know is that the royal family has always been extremely protective of their private affairs. The idea that any family member might threaten to tell all would be considered an ultimate betrayal of royal protocol. It would represent the kind of nuclear option that could tear apart not just personal relationships, but the carefully maintained public image of the monarchy itself. The modern royal family operates under an unspoken agreement of mutual discretion. Everyone protects everyone else's secrets because everyone has something to hide. If this delicate balance were ever disrupted, the consequences could be extraordinary. So while we can't confirm whether Camilla has ever made such threats, the mere possibility explains why royal watchers find these rumors so compelling. In a family where image is everything, the person with the most secrets holds the most power. William's master plan revealed. Now examine what royal experts believe William might actually be planning for Camilla's future role. According to multiple reports from Cosmopolitan and other royal watching publications, William's vision for the monarchy appears to be quite different from his father's approach. Sources suggest that William favors a more streamlined, cost-effective royal family that focuses on core working royals. This modernized approach could mean significantly reduced roles for extended family members, including his stepmother. When Charles eventually passes away, Camilla would traditionally become a queen dowager, but William might have other ideas. Royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams has suggested that William might prefer to limit
royal expert and former editor of International Who's Who, Richard Fitzwilliams,
Camilla's official duties and public appearances once he becomes king. This wouldn't necessarily be vindictive. It could simply reflect William's vision of a more focused monarchy that concentrates resources on the direct line of succession. But there's another layer to consider. William and Catherine have been building their own royal brand based on modern values, environmental consciousness, and mental health advocacy. Camilla's association with the breakdown of William's parents' marriage might not align with the image they want to project for the future monarchy. Some royal watchers speculate that William might offer Camilla a graceful exit strategy, perhaps a comfortable retirement with reduced public duties and a smaller official residence. This would allow both parties to save face while fundamentally changing the power structure within the royal family. However, implementing such changes wouldn't be simple. Camilla has built up her own network of royal patronages and public commitments. Any dramatic reduction in her role would need to be handled delicately to avoid public backlash or accusations of family infighting. The battle for Charles's loyalty. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of this alleged conflict is how it might be affecting King Charles himself. Caught between his wife and his heir, Charles faces an impossible balancing act that could define the final years of his reign. Recent reports suggest that Charles has been actively working to cement Camilla's position within the royal family, possibly as a way to protect her future under William's reign. Just last month, he formally bestowed additional titles and responsibilities on Camilla, which royal commentators interpreted as an attempt to make her role more difficult to diminish. But this creates a fascinating power dynamic. While Charles is the current monarch, William represents the future of the institution. Any decisions Charles makes today will ultimately be subject to William's approval once he becomes king. This temporal paradox puts enormous pressure on all three family members. Sources close to the royal family suggest that Charles is deeply aware of the tensions between his wife and his son. Some reports indicate that he's been trying to broker peace between them, organizing private family meetings and encouraging more collaborative working relationships. Yet the question remains, if forced to choose between protecting his wife's interests and ensuring a smooth transition of power to his son, which would Charles prioritize? The answer to this question could determine not just the future of these personal relationships, but the stability of the monarchy itself. Royal biographer Penny Junor has noted that
I'm royal biographer Penny Junor. Good morning to all of you.
Charles has always been a devoted husband to Camilla, but he's also keenly aware of his responsibilities as a constitutional monarch. This creates an internal conflict that could influence how he navigates these family tensions in his remaining years as king. What the future really holds. So what does all this speculation and royal drama actually mean for the future of the British monarchy? Let's separate the confirmed facts from the rumors and examine what we can reasonably expect. First, the facts. William will become king when Charles passes away or abdicates. When that happens, Camilla's role will automatically change from queen consort to queen dowager. William will have the authority to determine how prominent that role becomes within the royal family structure. Based on reporting from multiple royal correspondents, it does seem likely that William envisions a more streamlined monarchy. This isn't necessarily about personal animosity toward Camilla. It reflects broader thinking about how the royal family should operate in the 21st century. We also know that William has been building strong relationships with other European royal families, many of which operate with smaller, more focused structures. The Swedish and Danish royal families, for example, have successfully modernized by limiting working royal roles to direct heirs and their immediate families. However, any changes to Camilla's role would need to be implemented carefully. The British public has generally warmed to Camilla over the years, and any perception that she was being treated unfairly could create negative publicity for William's reign. The reality is probably less dramatic than the rumors suggest. Rather than some explosive confrontation or secret-revealing showdown, we're more likely to see a gradual diplomatic transition that allows everyone to maintain their dignity while acknowledging new realities. Still, the underlying tensions revealed by these reports do highlight something important about the royal family. Beneath the pageantry and protocol, they're dealing with the same complex family dynamics that affect everyone else. The only difference is that their personal relationships have constitutional implications. The Diana factor, wounds that never healed. Now address the elephant in the room that no one really talks about openly: Princess Diana's lasting influence on this entire situation. The shadow of Diana looms large over every interaction between William and Camilla, creating a complex web of emotions that goes far beyond typical family dynamics. William was just 15 years old when his mother died in that tragic car crash in Paris.
The crash in a Paris tunnel that killed Princess Diana.
At that impressionable age, he was already aware of his parents' troubled marriage and Camilla's role in it. Royal biographers have documented how Diana herself made sure her sons understood the complexities of their father's relationships, sometimes sharing more than might have been appropriate for children. According to multiple royal experts, including those quoted in recent Vanity Fair articles, William has never fully processed or forgiven what he sees as Camilla's contribution to his mother's unhappiness. This is a deep-seated sense of betrayal that has shaped his entire relationship with his stepmother. The psychological impact of this dynamic cannot be understated. Every time William sees Camilla wearing royal jewels that once belonged to his mother, or taking on patronages that Diana once championed, it reportedly reopens old wounds. Royal insiders suggest that William views Camilla's current position as, in some ways, a final insult to his mother's memory. But here's where it gets even more complicated. Diana's legacy has become increasingly important to William's own royal brand. He and Catherine have deliberately positioned themselves as continuing Diana's humanitarian work, particularly around mental health advocacy and support for disadvantaged communities. This creates an interesting tension. How can William honor his mother's legacy while maintaining family unity with the woman he sees as having caused her pain? Some royal watchers believe that William's reported plans to limit Camilla's role are about creating space for Diana's memory to reclaim its rightful place in royal history. Once William becomes king, he'll have the power to reshape how the royal family tells its own story, potentially giving Diana a more prominent posthumous role. Recent reports suggest that William has been quietly working with Diana's former charities and causes, building relationships that could become more official once he has full royal authority. The strategy would allow him to honor his mother while diplomatically sidelining his stepmother. The emotional complexity of this situation explains why the tensions between William and Camilla feel so intractable. It's about grief, loyalty, and competing versions of royal history. Catherine's strategic influence. While much of the focus has been on the direct relationship between William and Camilla, royal watchers are increasingly paying attention to Catherine's role in shaping these family dynamics. The Princess of Wales has emerged as a sophisticated royal operator who might be quietly influencing her husband's approach to his stepmother. Recent reports from Hello magazine and other royal publications suggest that Catherine has developed her own complex relationship with Camilla. On the surface, they appear cordial during public appearances, but body language experts note a certain formality that contrasts with Catherine's warm interactions with other family members. Catherine's background as a commoner who married into the royal family gives her a unique perspective on Camilla's position. However, unlike Camilla, Catherine entered the family as William's chosen partner, not as someone associated with family trauma. This fundamental difference in how they joined the royal family has reportedly shaped their relationship. Royal expert Katie Nicholl has suggested that Catherine has been instrumental in helping William develop a long-term strategy for the monarchy's future. As someone who brings an outsider's perspective to royal traditions,
it becomes a mental challenge between the two of us.
Yeah, it's who can out-mental each other. Oh, yeah.
Catherine reportedly favors a more modern approach that focuses on core family members and reduces the influence of extended royal relations. This could explain some of the reported tensions. If Catherine sees Camilla as representing the old way of doing things, complicated family dynamics, historical baggage, and associations with past controversies, she might naturally support William's desire to create distance. But Catherine's influence goes beyond just supporting her husband's preferences. As a future queen consort herself, she's reportedly very conscious of establishing her own distinct royal identity. Some sources suggest that she sees Camilla's continued prominence as potentially confusing for the public, who might struggle to understand the difference between a current queen consort and a future one. The strategic element of Catherine's approach is particularly fascinating. Rather than engaging in any direct confrontation with Camilla, she's reportedly focused on building her own royal profile and supporting causes that align with her and William's vision for the monarchy. This approach allows her to shape the family's direction without creating obvious conflict. Royal watchers have noted that Catherine's public appearances and charitable work seem carefully designed to contrast with Camilla's approach. Where Camilla focuses on traditional royal patronages, Catherine emphasizes modern issues like mental health and early childhood development. This positioning creates a subtle but clear differentiation between the current royal establishment and the future one. The financial implications of royal restructuring. One aspect of this royal drama that doesn't get enough attention is the significant financial implications of any changes to Camilla's role. The royal family's finances are more complex than most people realize, and any restructuring of responsibilities could have major economic consequences. Currently, as queen consort, Camilla receives funding for her royal duties through the sovereign grant, which covers official travel, staff salaries, and other operational expenses. She also has access to various royal residences and receives security protection funded by taxpayers. If William were to significantly reduce her role, these financial arrangements would need to be restructured. According to financial experts who follow royal spending, the annual cost of supporting Camilla's royal duties runs into the millions of pounds.
She must have been crawling when I started. I'm still enjoying it.
This includes everything from her private secretary's salary to the cost of maintaining her official vehicles and security detail. A streamlined monarchy could potentially save taxpayers a substantial amount of money by reducing these expenses. Royal finances operate on the assumption that certain family members will continue in their roles for decades. Any major changes to these assumptions could require significant restructuring of royal household budgets and staff arrangements. Recent reporting from The Times has highlighted growing public concern about royal spending, particularly as the country faces economic challenges. Younger generations, in particular, are increasingly questioning whether the royal family provides value for money. This public sentiment could provide political cover for William to implement cost-saving measures that happen to align with his personal preferences regarding Camilla's role. The property question is particularly complex. Camilla currently has access to multiple royal residences, including Clarence House, which serves as her London base. If her role were reduced, would she retain access to these properties? The answers to such questions could determine whether any transition happens smoothly or becomes a source of public controversy. Some royal finance experts suggest that William might offer Camilla a generous financial settlement in exchange for a reduced public role. This approach would allow both parties to maintain their dignity while achieving William's goal of a more streamlined monarchy. However, negotiating such arrangements while Charles is still alive could create awkward family dynamics. The international dimension is also worth considering. The British royal family's global brand generates significant tourism revenue and soft power benefits. Any changes to the family structure need to be evaluated in terms of their potential impact on this broader economic and diplomatic value. International royal models and modernization. To understand what William might be planning, it's helpful to examine how other European royal families have successfully modernized their operations. Several monarchies have undergone significant restructuring in recent decades, providing potential blueprints for the British royal family's future. The Swedish royal family offers perhaps the most relevant example.
The Swedish royal family actually stems from France, one of Napoleon's marshals, Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte.
In 2019, King Carl XVI, Gustav, stripped several of his grandchildren of their royal titles and official duties, creating a more focused monarchy centered around the direct line of succession. This decision was largely praised for reducing costs and clarifying the royal family's structure for future generations. Similarly, the Dutch royal family has maintained a relatively small core of working royals, with extended family members living largely private lives. This approach has helped them avoid many of the scandals and controversies that have plagued larger royal establishments while maintaining strong public support. The Danish monarchy has also embraced modernization, with Crown Prince Frederik and Crown Princess Mary representing a more contemporary approach to royal duties. Their focus on environmental issues and social causes has helped maintain the monarchy's relevance with younger generations. These international examples suggest that reducing the number of active royals doesn't necessarily weaken the institution. It might actually strengthen it by creating clearer lines of authority and reducing opportunities for internal conflict. This could be particularly relevant to William's reported thinking about Camilla's future role. Royal expert Victoria Arbiter has noted that successful royal modernization requires careful planning and gradual implementation. The most successful reforms have been those that appeared natural and inevitable rather than sudden or punitive. This suggests that any changes to Camilla's role would need to be presented as part of a broader modernization effort rather than a personal vendetta. The question of timing is also crucial. International examples suggest that major royal restructuring is most successful when it coincides with natural transition points, such as the accession of a new monarch. This would give William a legitimate opportunity to implement changes without appearing to target Camilla specifically. However, the British monarchy faces unique challenges that don't apply to smaller European royal families. The sheer scale of the British royal operation, with its numerous patronages, properties, and ceremonial responsibilities, makes any restructuring more complex. Additionally, the British royal family's global profile means that any changes receive intense international scrutiny. The Commonwealth dimension adds another layer of complexity. As head of the Commonwealth, the British monarch has responsibilities that extend far beyond the United Kingdom. Any changes to the royal family structure need to consider how they might affect relationships with Commonwealth nations, many of which have their own complex relationships with the monarchy. Of course, models from Europe only tell part of the story. What truly sets the British monarchy apart is how its every move is filtered through a relentless media lens, one that often creates as much drama as it reports. The media chess game. Behind all the speculation about royal family tensions lies a sophisticated media strategy that involves multiple players trying to shape public opinion. Understanding this media chess game is crucial to interpreting the reports and rumors that fuel our fascination with royal drama. Both William's and Camilla's camps have their preferred journalists and media outlets, creating a complex web of briefings, leaks, and strategic communications. When we read about tensions between them, we're often seeing the result of carefully orchestrated media campaigns designed to build public support for different positions. Royal correspondent Richard Kay has noted that the modern royal family operates in a media environment where perception often becomes reality. If enough stories circulate about tensions between William and Camilla,
Camilla said, as soon as William left after that brief meeting,
those tensions can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, affecting their actual relationship and the broader family dynamics. The timing of various media reports is particularly telling. Stories about Camilla's alleged concerns about her future role often appear when William and Catherine are receiving positive coverage for their royal duties. Similarly, reports about William's modernization plans tend to surface when there's discussion about reducing royal spending or streamlining the monarchy. Social media has added another dimension to this media strategy. Royal fans and critics alike dissect every public appearance, looking for signs of tension or reconciliation. A single photograph of William and Camilla standing apart at an official event can generate thousands of comments and speculation about their relationship. The international media adds yet another layer of complexity. American publications often take a more sensationalist approach to royal coverage, while European media tend to be more restrained. These different editorial approaches can amplify certain narratives while downplaying others, creating a distorted picture of the actual situation. Recent reports suggest that both William and Camilla have become more sophisticated in their media strategies. Rather than engaging in obvious briefing wars, they're reportedly focusing on positive coverage of their individual work, while avoiding direct commentary on family relationships. This approach allows them to build public support without appearing to criticize each other. The role of royal biographers and experts in shaping these narratives cannot be understated. When respected royal commentators speculate about future arrangements or family tensions, their opinions often get reported as near facts, influencing public perception and potentially affecting the actual decision-making process within the royal family. Understanding this media dimension helps explain why the truth about William and Camilla's relationship remains so elusive. In a world where every interaction is analyzed and every decision is strategically communicated, separating genuine family dynamics from media manipulation becomes increasingly difficult. The constitutional implications. While much of our focus has been on the personal relationships and family dynamics, it's important to understand that any major changes to Camilla's role would have significant constitutional implications that extend far beyond palace intrigue. The British constitutional monarchy operates on centuries of precedent and tradition, but it also has the flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances. However, any changes must be implemented carefully to avoid creating constitutional crises or undermining the stability of the institution. Constitutional expert Professor Vernon Bogdanor has noted that the role of a queen consort carries specific legal and constitutional responsibilities. Camilla's current position involves her in state functions, diplomatic events, and ceremonial occasions that are central to the monarchy's constitutional role. If William were to significantly reduce Camilla's responsibilities, alternative arrangements would need to be made for these constitutional functions. This might require expanding the roles of other family members or restructuring how certain ceremonial duties are performed. Such changes would need to be coordinated with government officials and possibly require parliamentary consideration. The question of precedent is particularly complex. While there have been examples of royal family members stepping back from official duties, there's no modern precedent for a reigning monarch significantly reducing their stepmother's role. Any such action would create new constitutional precedents that could affect future generations. The Commonwealth dimension adds another layer of constitutional complexity.
As we gather to discuss our theme, advocating for women and girls in the Commonwealth.
As Queen Consort, Camilla has a role in Commonwealth events and relationships that extends beyond the United Kingdom. Changes to her position could affect the monarchy's relationship with Commonwealth nations, some of which have their own complex constitutional arrangements regarding the British Crown. The timing of any constitutional changes is also crucial. While William will have significant authority as king, the principle of constitutional monarchy requires that major changes be implemented gradually and with appropriate consultation. Sudden or dramatic changes could be seen as destabilizing and might generate political opposition. Legal experts suggest that any reduction in Camilla's role would need to be framed as part of broader modernization efforts rather than targeting her specifically. This approach would help maintain the constitutional principle that the monarchy operates according to established procedures rather than personal preferences. The international implications also need to be considered. The British monarchy serves as a model for other constitutional monarchies around the world. How William handles the transition regarding Camilla could influence similar situations in other countries and affect the broader reputation of constitutional monarchy as a form of government. Public opinion and generational divides. The ultimate success or failure of any changes to royal arrangements depends largely on public acceptance, and polling data reveals interesting generational divides in attitudes toward both Camilla and the monarchy's future direction. Recent YouGov polling shows that older generations generally have more favorable views of Camilla and are more likely to support maintaining traditional royal arrangements. These voters remember the long process of Camilla's integration into the royal family and tend to view her as having earned her current position through years of dedicated service. However, younger generations tell a different story. Polling among 18 to 34-year-olds shows less attachment to Camilla personally and more support for a streamlined monarchy focused on core family members. These voters are more likely to see William and Catherine as the real representatives of modern monarchy and view extensive royal families as outdated and expensive. The Diana factor plays differently across generations as well. Older voters who lived through Diana's death and the subsequent controversies are more likely to have nuanced views about Camilla's role in those events. Younger voters, who know Diana primarily as a historical figure, are more likely to view the situation in black and white terms. These generational differences have important political implications, as older, more traditional voters are gradually replaced by younger, more modern-minded ones. The political pressure for royal modernization is likely to increase. This demographic trend could provide political cover for William to implement changes that might have been controversial a generation ago. Social media has amplified these generational differences by creating echo chambers where different age groups consume different narratives about the royal family. Older royal watchers tend to follow traditional media sources that emphasize continuity and respect for tradition. While younger audiences get their royal news from sources that emphasize modernization and cost-effectiveness. The international dimension of public opinion is also worth considering. American and other international audiences who consume significant amounts of British royal content tend to have more simplified views of royal relationships. This international interest can influence how domestic changes are perceived and implemented. Regional differences within the United Kingdom add another layer of complexity. Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish voters often have different attitudes toward the monarchy than English voters, and any major changes to royal arrangements need to consider these regional sensitivities. Recent focus group research suggests that most voters don't have strong opinions about the specific details of royal arrangements, but they do care about value for money and modernization. This suggests that William could implement significant changes to Camilla's role as long as they're presented as part of broader efficiency and modernization efforts. To fully understand the dynamics between William and Camilla, we need to examine the psychological aspects of power transitions within families particularly when those families operate major institutions with global significance. Family psychology experts note that step-family relationships are inherently complex, involving questions of loyalty, identity, and belonging that can persist for decades. Add the pressures of public scrutiny and constitutional responsibility, and these normal family tensions become magnified into potential institutional crises. William's position is particularly complex from a psychological perspective. As the heir to the throne, he's simultaneously his father's subordinate and his eventual successor. This creates what psychologists call anticipatory power, where future authority influences current relationships even before it's officially transferred. Dr. Robert Cialdini's research on influence and persuasion suggests that Camilla's best strategy might be to focus on building genuine personal relationships with William and Catherine, rather than relying on formal position or Charles's support. However, the years of distance between them might make such relationship building extremely difficult. William's challenge is managing what psychologists call role conflict, balancing his duties as a son who should respect his father's wife with his responsibilities as a future king, who needs to make decisions based on institutional rather than personal considerations. Rumors about Prince William wanting to end Camilla's reign sound dramatic, but the truth is probably less explosive. Whether this is a real power struggle or just normal family friction is hard to say, especially since the royals keep their private lives so secret. That secrecy only makes people more curious, leaving room for endless speculation about how much their personal relationships shape what we see in public. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your theories about what's really happening behind those palace walls.